Hello, and welcome back to another episode recap where I'll lay out 5 things that I learned from my conversation with a historical expert. Today, we're recapping the conversation that I had with Judith Avila about the historical accuracy of Windtalkers. Judith is a writer and author of Chester Nez's memoir titled Code Talker, the first and only memoir by one of the original Navajo code talkers of World War II. Now, if you haven't had the time to listen to my full interview with Judith yet, well, that's why I'm here today, in this video to recap 5 things that I learned about the historical accuracy of the movie Windtalkers with Judith Avila. So, let's get started. Number 1, the real people. The 2 main characters in the movie are Nick Cage's character, Joe Enders, and Adam Beach's character, Ben Yazzie. Judith told me that she couldn't find anything in history that those 2 people were real. But she did point out that Yazzie is a common Navajo last name, and there were some code talkers with that last name. Although she said it's usually spelled Y-A-Z-Z-I-E and not Y-A-H-Z-E-E like the character is in the movie. But as far as she can tell, the characters in the film are not supposed to be real people. Number 2, Marine Protectors. The movie shows Nick Cage's character Joe Enders as being one of the Marines assigned to protecting Adam Beach's character Ben Yazzie. Judith told me that's not really how the code talkers work. She said what they really did was work in groups of 4 code talkers, although she did point out that the Marines would neither confirm nor deny the possibility that they had bodyguards who were watching those code talkers. But it doesn't seem that there were the obvious protectors or bodyguards that the movie makes it seem like there were. And part of that might very well be because of number 3, code talkers were damn good Marines. If all you did was watch the movie, you'd be easy to get the idea that the Navajo code talkers were pretty much just there to talk on the radio. After all, they've got bodyguards to protect them. Judith told me that's not true. While code talking was their primary mission, she also pointed out that almost all the code talkers were extremely proficient on the rifle range. She recounted how Chester Nez told her how they were sent out on a lot of missions that were not related to code talking at all because they were relied on by their officers. So not only did they have their job to perform as code talkers on the battlefield, but they were often recruited to do other missions or special assignments because they always did them so well. As Judith recounted Chester Nez saying, quote, "And with good reason, we were damn good Marines," end quote. Number 4, not the original code talkers. Judith's book is the memoir of Chester Nez, who was one of the original code talkers who helped design the code that they used. One thing she helped clarify for me was the timeline of the movie. She told me they developed the code in 1942, soon after the United States joined the war after Pearl Harbor was attacked at the end of 1941. In the movie, though, the timeline starts in 1943. So on top of the movie being set with fictional characters, it's also not starting at the beginning of the code talking during the war. By the time we see Adam Beach's character in the film, he's being taught a code that already exists. And I think it's an important thing to keep in mind because the movie clearly is not telling the whole story of the code talkers. Number 5, one tough job. Nothing about war is easy. As I was talking to Judith about the code talkers, though, there were a few things that really stood out to me about just how difficult their job was. For example, Judith told me that they would often be required to transmit messages for 36 hours at a time without any sleep or food. And when the Marines were given R&R time, the original code talkers couldn't go. They had to keep working because messages had to be transmitted. She also told me how the Japanese would triangulate their position. Even though they couldn't tell what the Navajo code talkers were saying, they could figure out where they were broadcasting from. So they would have to constantly move because on more than one occasion, they would broadcast, and then only a few minutes later, the place that they were just broadcasting from would be bombarded by Japanese artillery. On top of all that, even though they were sharpshooters, they were told that if a message is to be sent, that's the priority. Put down your rifle and send the message. That's all for today, and hopefully you enjoyed this episode recap of 5 things that I learned from Judith Avila about the historical accuracy of the movie Windtalkers. My chat with Judith was about an hour long, so we talked about a lot more than just the things that I brought up in this video. For example, you'll have to hear the whole interview to hear her tell the story of how Chester Nez was thanked by the Boston Red Sox after they broke the curse of the Bambino. You can listen to that whole thing for free right now over at basedonatruestorypodcast.com/164. Once again, that's basedonatruestorypodcast.com/164. And if you're looking for even more of the true story of the Code Talkers in World War II, do not rely on the movie Windtalkers. Instead, go pick up a copy of Judith's book called Code Talker, the first and only memoir by one of the original Navajo Code Talkers of World War II. In the meantime, for more recaps and full-length episodes of Based on a True Story, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks for watching.